Attorneys, what's your problem?
Welcome again to Training for Trial with Robert Graff of GraffStandard.com. Rob, you got my attention with that intro. What's your problem? What are we talking about in this? Actually, let me just level set. We're launching our 4-part series here on helping attorneys do what they do best. And so you're starting with what's your problem? What's this episode about today, Rob?
Well, it's actually not as bad as what your problem is. It's what's your problem with other people. Why do you dislike some people and like others? And what's it about those people that you dislike that makes you act differently around them? And basically, in this episode, we'll take a look why.
All right, so let's talk about our 3 takeaways, and then we'll run them down one at a time. So we're going to be talking about figuring out where you're operating from, finding out what it is about the other person that actually bothers you, and then recognizing that you can't change the other person, but you've got a little bit of ability to change yourself. So let's take those from the top, Rob. Figuring out where you're operating from. What are you getting at here?
Well, when you enter the courtroom, when you enter any aspect of life where there's going to be a confrontational setting, why are you doing what you're doing? Are you coming at it from an area where you just want to browbeat the person into submission? Or are you coming from an area where you're trying to mitigate the risk and figure out the best way that everybody can work something out? Now, obviously, that depends on the area of law that you're working in and your position at the time and specifically your client's position. But in a general setting, it works, if you're going to a networking event or you're speaking to a crowd of people. Where are you coming from? Are you anxious? Are you excited? Are you angry? So where you're beginning from will affect the rest of your interactions with everyone else around you. And so that's really what this is about. If you're operating from an angry level, you're going to see everybody coming at you as hostile. If you're going to coming from a passive level, well, there's an option there. You might also see everybody as hostile if you are passive in every single way. So it really depends on where your energy's at and when you're entering the zone of wherever you're at that time. How are you operating?
So part of this is really about thinking it through before you enter the room, kind of thing, getting your mind right, getting your mindset right, getting your frame of reference and your objectives clear so that you're in the right state as you're coming into the situation, right?
Exactly. Let me give a great example. Somebody works wherever they work. They get called to the boss's office. Nothing good comes when you get called to the boss's office, no matter what it is. But if you go in thinking you're going to get fired, you're going to have a lot better or a lot different of an approach to entering that office and a lot different of a tone than if you think you're going to get a promotion.
Right.
So really, that's figuring out where your frame of mind is, and guessing what's going to happen in the future is always a bad idea because
you don't know
the future. Yeah. So just connecting with yourself and saying, hey, you know what, this is all me, trying to guess what's going to happen. I don't know, but let's go in with this mindset will help tremendously when entering any situation, but specifically a courtroom.
So as you're heading into that courtroom, figure out where you're operating from, get your mind right, get your expectations right, get your focus. All right, great. So you've done that. So let's segue then into finding out what the other, what it is that's triggering about this other person, right? So, how do you go about that? I hope you've been enjoying this conversation that Rob and I have been having, but the rest of this conversation lives inside Rob's site. So come over to GraffStandard.com and look for the Training for Trial button. Just click that button. It's a free membership. Not only do you get this entire episode, but a depth of content. Rob has been creating tons of great information. It's all there in the Training for Trial section. So go to GraffStandard.com right now and click the Training for Trial button.